All right, I got a 4-liter Ford here. I'm gonna be tearing this apart, rebuilding this engine. I'm gonna look into twin turbo in it, making this thing's ballsy engine to throw in my old Ranger. So I already started tearing it apart. I got the plenum off, valve cover off. This head's about to come off. I'm just doing it in the back of my truck because that's where it's at. And I don't have anything strong enough to get it out, and it's heavy. So I'm gonna set this up, do a little video of tearing this thing down the rest of the way, getting it set up on the workbench how I want it, so I can start getting this figuring out what all I need. I know that the timing chain busted through the bottom of the oil pan, so I know I'll need a lower pan. Luckily I have one of those, and we're just gonna go from there and make a pretty ballsy 4-liter. See if we can maybe mock up some EcoBoost turbos or something like that to it, so we can pull some power out of this thing. So we got the heads off. Those are on the ground over there. We'll get those apart. So now what I want to do is pull off the water pump and this whole fan assembly if possible, but there's no belt on it, so I'm gonna have to grab it with something to hold that so I can hit it with the air hammer. I don't know if my compressor will give enough to get it off, so it might be just pull the whole pump off and get a new clutch and all that stuff. I might put electric fans in it and do it that way. But so we're going to get to getting the front of this engine apart, getting that off, getting the front cover off, timing chains, and get ready to flip it over, start unbolting some pistons and sliding them out, unbolt them connecting rods and get it out. And yeah, I got to make this thing light enough that I can move it, which means basically pulling everything out so it's just the block and then carrying the block. but it'll be fun and we'll get her done. So I got the engine out of the truck bed. Where's it at? Right there. We're gonna start tearing that apart. We're gonna get the bottom pan off, kind of flip it over and pull the connecting rod bolts out, pull those caps off, pull the pistons out, get the crank out, and all that fun stuff. And then just kind of go from there. We'll tear the heads apart here in a little bit. I want to make sure I have a good area to get everything lined up and in the right spot and numbered so I don't lose track of anything. I'm probably not even going to be using the same cam. I'll probably get different caps and stuff, same with the crank, but you never know. So we're going to check it out. I think this crank's toast, unfortunately, but we'll see. bit of time, got all my tools back and cleaned up. I've got, so the cams are out, rockers out, caps are out, there's all the pistons, so just kind of got that taken apart. I'm going to, tomorrow, I'm going to go and get the pulley off of the crank so I can get the front cover off of that. And I got to figure out how I'm going to get that last bolt off that oil pump, so I can get that off, and then I'm going to decide how big I want to bore everything, what kind of cams I want, what pistons I want. I'd like to do like a twin turbo deal, kind of like the weird light deal right there. There we go. Kind of like the new 3.6 EcoBoost. I'm also kind of thinking about a single turbo, like a T4, something that'll just put some good boost in it. And I got to figure out exhaust, how I'm going to run that, where I want to put that, and kind of go from there. But I got some oil dry down. I got to clean up better tomorrow, get everything better organized, and just kind of see where it goes. That was my hand. I shouldn't have grabbed it there. And yeah, so we're going to do that, get everything else apart. I'm also going to let these, I'm going to get a tub tomorrow, fill them up with some Purple Power, because that stuff's awesome, and just let it soak. I'm also going to get a valve spring compressor, so I can get these valves out, and get this thing cleaned up. I'm going to get the heads machined, valves ported, all that stuff. Now, of course, I need money to do that, so I got to wait until I get some of these side jobs done. So I got to get everything cleaned up and kind of pushed out of the way to where I can get other cars in here with the limited space I already have to start making some money to order some parts. Because I want probably 40 over pistons. I want bigger cams. I don't know what size I want yet. Bigger valves, bigger injectors, and then the turbo. I think that should crank out some pretty good power. I got a trans sitting over here that I need to send out to get built to handle more power. I don't know how much the 5R55s can handle. But my guess is not much more than like 350-ish. And I'd probably, depending on how big I want to go, I could be pushing around 500, 450, 500. So I want to make sure that that trans can handle it, since I have an extra and I can build it. So tomorrow we're going to get cleaned up with everything. And I got to make some phone calls and get some more work lined up so I can buy parts for this thing. Because it ain't cheap.